If you are waiting to raise money before you make a film, you might wait forever. I'm going to show you the exact structure that gets a full cast and crew to say yes before a single dollar exists. Then I'm going to build it on screen for a real project in about 20 minutes. Come along with me. My name is Aaron J. Rome. In the last 21 years, I've acted for all of the major studios. I run a community on school called One Grand Film School, and in the last 12 months, I've helped 35 filmmakers get on set of their feature films. I'm also in post on 2 myself, and have made 2 in the past. Let's get on with it. So if you've been in the industry for any amount of time and you've been chasing down a creative project, you probably know the first fundraise loop that you're going to run into probably eats 3 to 5 years of your career. In my case, it ate about 5. So what do I mean by fundraise loop? I mean, you write a project, you realize it needs a budget to get made, so you run around like a chicken with your head cut off looking for money, and some people seem interested and you chase them down until they ghost you and nothing ever gets made, and then you write a new project in a few years and do the same thing with that. So I want to give you a huge reframe, something that's helped a lot of dozens and dozens of filmmakers in my community actually get on set and shoot feature films. This is the reframe. The reframe is you are not asking for free labor. You are offering ownership, relationships, and opportunity in a finished film to people who don't already have it. So that's kind of the key thing here. I would not recommend anybody run around and ask people who are making a living at this to come and work on your project for free. Not what I'm saying it is at all. So I'm going to open a project right now. I'm working in OGF AI. The link is in the description below. There's a free trial if you want to jump in and try this for your own project. This is exactly how I break it down. It's all automated inside the system for you. So I'm going to grab a script. I'm going to hit start from scratch. There's also start with the script. There's also the opportunity to develop from scratch. Either way, it's going to help you create a film that is budget conscious, that will help you get on set in 12 months. So go in with either. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull in the script for Go Crazy Go Mad, which is my first feature film. That's where OGF, One Grand Film, got its name from. Is Go Crazy Go Mad cost us $1,000 to make from start to finish. So I kind of know what I'm talking about in this realm. This is my domain, is a super cheap, basically free film. So come along for the ride. I'm going to go grab that. I'm going to pause it while I grab it so you don't have to watch me search through my folders. Okay, this might look a little wacky. Go Crazy Go Mad was actually an unscripted dialogue movie. So the rest of the movie was highly structured. We knew exactly what the characters were going to do in every scene. We just didn't know what they were going to say. So this is not going to look like a typical script. And the system's probably going to flag that right away just because this is a lot shorter, a lot less word count. Here, I'll just give you a little preview of what the actual script looks like. We actually color-coded the scenes. This is free on the channel. Also, if you're like, what is Go Crazy Go Mad? I'll link to it somewhere here so you can go watch that. It's free, but we color-coded it based on the emotional relationship the 2 main characters had with each other. So you'll see the total script is about 72 scenes long. We shot it in 5 days on a $1,000 budget. We had 4 actors and a total of 3 crew members, and 12 people from start to finish made this movie. So I'm going to drag it in and I'm going to let this process for a second. So it's reading through the script. So yeah, here it says 2,371 words uploaded. That's short for a feature script. Double check you uploaded the complete screenplay before analyzing. So I did. So I'm going to say Go Crazy Go Mad is the name of the project. It is live action. You've got the option for animation or hybrid. And then I'm just going to hit analyze script. I'm going to give it kind of the bare minimum. The more you can feed it, the better. It can take budgets. It can take lookbooks, it can take scripts, any of that stuff that you have, upload it. The more information you give OGF AI, the smarter it gets, the more it understands, and it carries all of this information through all of the tools so you don't have to ask for the same thing over and over again. Hold on, I'm going to copy and paste this in because you can come in and you can actually edit directly in here. Squirm comedy with genuine romantic ache underneath. Squirm comedy. I've never heard that. I love that. The humor comes from physical specificity of social humiliation rather than jokes, landing somewhere between the naturalistic cringe of early Duplass brothers. I'll take that. And the bittersweet romantic realism of Nicole Holofcener. I gotta look you up, Nicole. I'm sorry you are in my blind spot, but OGF AI has just taught me about you, so now I need to go find your stuff. The film earns its discomfort by caring about both characters equally, never letting the audience fully off the hook. Pretty damn accurate. So the logline, a couple's romantic mountain getaway unravels into separate infidelities, forcing them toward a reckoning neither of them can speak aloud when all four parties converge at a gas station checkout line. Pretty darn good. So I'm not going to bore you with reading the whole synopsis. You can pause if you're interested or just go watch the movie. We've always called it a romantic dramedy, but I love that it just straight up called it a comedy. It's got my themes in here. Now here's what's interesting. Budget. Budget is optional. I already know what I spent on this movie, so I'm just going to put that in. I'm going to put $1,000, and we shot in Los Angeles and Big Bear. You can also hit I'm not sure of the budget, predict from my script, so you can figure out, it'll give you a good idea of what your budget probably looks like. Gives you a sliding scale based on actual union rates, so you can get a good idea of what your budget looks like. But I want to throw that to the side because the whole point of this video is teaching you how to make a film for nothing, right? So here's where that gets really interesting. My dream cast is already in the movie. One is me. Sounded really conceited. That's not how I meant that, because I just acted in the movie. My wife plays Bryn. Fallon is played by Amber Lee Coulson, brilliant comedic actress, and Rodrigo was played by Octavio Pisano, who, if you are a Law & Order fan, he has been the lead on Law & Order SVU for the last 5 years. So I'm going to hit that. I'm directing this, use my name, so I'll put that in there. It's actually co-direction and Ashley Lenz. Okay. So I'm going to hit save and continue. I'm actually in distribution, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to put us in development and I'm going to hit create project. So now here's the project's dashboard. So we've got all of these amazing tools to help us get through all of the phases of production, but we're starting at the beginning here. So this is what the overview page looks like. If I go all the way out, you'll see I now have a new project here. You can drag these around, so as you find, End Trip is my other script. When you come in, this is another finished film. It's also available. You can go find it. It's in here as a sample project, so you can jump in and kind of play with another project, so you can go look at that as well. But what I want to do is I'm going to go back into the Edit Project panel, and here's where things get a little bit different than a traditional fundraised film. OGF AI is built for films up to a $5 million budget. Could be beyond, but I would say the comfortable range is probably about $5 million and below. But its absolute sweet spot is exactly what this whole video is built around. It's built on being able to make a movie that you can shoot right now with whatever you actually have. So I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. So you've already seen logline, synopsis, tone, all of that, themes, shooting locations. So here's what's pretty cool. So you can come in here, you can lock your cast. So when you know that you're actually working with the actors and they're not on your wish list anymore, you just click this little button. And what this tells the system is these are not hopefuls. I'm not hoping to get these people. These are actual people I'm working with. It's going to tell all of the tools later on when you get into financing and development and distribution that all of these people are actual people that they can bank on if there is value attached to them. So, collaboration ledger. Now, a traditional film is going to have above the line and below the line and rate cards and lots of complex things that all teach you need to go raise money. But that is not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is we're hitting a collaboration ledger, and right here I have pre-baked the exact job titles I think you should look for. If you have access to people and you can get a few extras, there's some flex spots in here. If you can't get access to people and you live in a small town, there's no infrastructure, and you're left to make it like on your phone by yourself, that's okay too. I'll show you how this works. So above the line, you're going to put your writer-director. There's a contact book in here too. So one of the things I would say is if you already have people that you know you like to work with, come and add them to your contact book. You add them once, and then you can pull them into every project you have without retyping them. So I'm going to put myself in here as the writer-director. Producer AD, that was also kind of us. If I wanted to add somebody, here, let me collapse these. If I wanted to add somebody that is not in my contact book, I can do that too. So I could say Ashley Lenz. I could also add identity flags here. This is going to pull through to the financing intel, and it's actually going to be looking for grants that you could also qualify for based on who's attached to your project. So that's what the identity flags are all about. It's not just about like, ooh, we're being woke and politically correct. It's like there's money out there for people that fall under these categories. So if you have them, put them in here. They might be your whole budget. You never know. So now, production. You'll see 5 to 6 person crew. Now this can get even smaller too. So I've got a fake DP in here named John Smith. I've got a B camera operator. You'll notice there's a flex here. If this is somebody that you don't think you're going to be able to get, you're only going to have one camera person, you can always just hit this little X right here and take them off. Sound mixer. I don't have a sound mixer. I don't have a budget for a sound mixer. But you know what I do have is about $300 to go to some Bluetooth lavs that record 32-bit float audio. They last all day. They back up directly to the lav. They sync directly to the camera. I know if you're like a big film person, you're probably screaming at your monitor right now going like, you need a real sound person. What I'm telling you is at the end of the day, all your audience cares about is a good story with good performances that they can hear and see. And so for this first movie, for your zero budget thing, follow in the footsteps of, Christopher Nolan and Sean Baker and the Duplass brothers, myself. Make a movie with what you have. Do not let those things become limiting to your ability to actually make your film. PA is usually like mom. Mom's going to be my PA because she's going to like make some food and like go grab, waters for the crew. I don't have a gaffer. I don't have electric. I don't have a grip swing. Okay, so right now I've got a 2-person crew. That's John Smith and my mom, which is fine because we've got John who's going to just plug the lavs into his camera. My mom, who's going to make baked ziti and bring it to the crew halfway through the day, 6 hours in. Post-production, we're going to need an editor. I guess that's probably also going to be me. And then, let's see, a composer. So I'm going to come back to these people later because I think this is where things get really interesting. You're also going to see what are they getting? What are they getting out of this? And this is where I'd like to reshift your brain. So just like you are searching YouTube, you're going out there asking, how do I make a feature film with no budget? Like, how do I make my dreams come true? How do I become a writer? How do I become a director? There are people out there asking the exact same question about nearly every job title that serves a film. DPs, sound people, catering, wardrobe, art department, acting. We all need our first projects to get us to the next level. We need somebody, you in this scenario, to come by and say, hey, I'm making something. You want to be a part of it? That's really all we're looking for at this level. And that's not to say that you can't find people that are talented. Sometimes, and I think there's a great story about one of the filmmakers who's traveling the film festival circuit right now, Zilke Engler. She's German. She was a script supervisor for 20 years on one of Germany's biggest crime procedurals. She went to film school. She'd made a bunch of short films. She shipped them all over the world. She racked up a bunch of laurels to the point where the cast and crew on her show actually all signed a petition to try and get her to direct an episode. And she could have done it in her sleep. She was a script supervisor. It's literally what she did as a day job. And the studio said no. They said, you haven't made a feature film yet, so we can't trust you, basically. And so we met at a film festival in Madrid, part of what I'll get into later, the important festivals. And we said, here, make a feature film like we made Go Crazy, Go Mad and End Trip, my second film, the sample project in here. And she did. She made a feature. It's called Sunny. Before it was even released, she was sending clips of it out to film studios, TV studios, and successfully booked 2 episodes of one of Germany's kind of rival big crime procedural. Those 2 episodes premiered this year to record numbers. The studios loved her. They're bringing her back, and she's currently got Germany's biggest producers kind of vying after her next project. So that's all to say, like a tiny little film like this can lead to the relationships that make the bigger things happen. Now, what Zilke was able to do, going back to the talent side, is she found a camera operator who had never DP'd. So sometimes you don't need to take a beginner and put them in like the key department head role, but there are all these people that are otherwise cogs in the machine that would be willing, that want to do the big job, but they're stuck. They're stuck on like what I like to call the industry ladder. And they're trying to work themselves into a position. And then all of a sudden you come along, or Zilke in this case, says, hey, will you DP my film? She's got the know-how. She's got the experience. She's got the name. And so she was able to pull on very, very talented DP, Yulia, who was able to go directly to a camera rental house and say, hey, I'm a camera operator. I normally work for Lars von Trier. Can I use some gear? And they donated an entire Airy package, Panavision lenses, a whole truck. I mean, probably $500,000 worth of gear. You don't need $500,000 worth of gear to make your movie. I'm simply illustrating that you don't always have to go for beginners. Sometimes you've just got a friend with a really good eye who likes to take pictures for their Instagram. I would ask them to shoot the movie. But basically what everybody is working for, they're working for a feature film credit. Everybody needs those first credits. They're looking for things that they can put on their demo reel. They're looking for relationships. We're looking to connect to other filmmakers that are actively making things and not just talking about making things. And we're talking about back-end points. So I know everybody's like, low-budget films don't make money. And yeah, that's true. A lot of the time that's true. And I'd like to counter that by saying, like, this movie does not have to make money for you to find some version of success from it. If you make a movie for no money that gets one person interested in helping you make your second movie a lot easier, that first movie did exactly what it was supposed to do. Nobody knows about Christopher Nolan because of Following. We know of Christopher Nolan because of Memento and The Dark Knight and Inception and now Odyssey. And we went and found Following because of it. It wasn't that Following was this worldwide phenomenon that had this gigantic box office. It's that he kept making films and getting bigger and better opportunities from the smaller films. So that's the goal here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Save Ledger. We know we've got our people locked in. And so now we can come back to our project. And when we are in the contract builder, it's going to pull the people that we need into the contract. Rather than walk you through the entire contract builder, I'm just going to jump to a project that is already made. So I'm going to show you what happens here. So this is completely text-based, chat-based. So you go back and forth with this thing. It's going to help you set up your copyright registration, your SPV LLC, so the company that needs to own the IP so you can have the correct chain of title. I know this, if you haven't heard this stuff before, it probably sounds like Mandarin, but this is the thing that will keep you from selling your film if you don't have it. It's all built into OGF AI, so you don't have to worry about it. But it gives you your entire vault here. So you've got your articles of organization, your LLC, your assignment of screenplay, and all of your contract drafts are going to come directly out of the system here. So the wording, everything is in there, the collaboration ledger, and the back-end points. Now, the cool part about this is, and I got this directly from the Duplass brothers, but basically you are going to care about this movie longer than anyone. You're going to work on it harder than anyone. And long after all of your cast and crew has wrapped and gone home and gone to bed, you're going to be working on this project. Keep 40%. You keep 40% for you. If you have a co-producer, co-writer, co-director, split that between you two. And then everybody else is going to split the 60% of net profits. So pay yourself back for everything that you spent on the film, and then everybody else gets a percentage of the 60% relative to the amount of value that they are bringing to the production. So let me say that in a less complicated way. If you're bringing on an actor who has 2 million followers, and you know you've got a really good chance of getting 2 million butts in the seats, or at least getting a small percentage of that 2 million people's eyes on your film, They should command more of a percentage than the PA, your mom, who's bringing the baked ziti. No offense, mom, but 2 million person audience versus baked ziti, they've got their weights. Or if you have a DP who comes on, give them 5%. If they bring a whole bunch of their own gear and a focus puller, give them 10%. Think about how to break that 60%, that remaining 60% up in an equally distributed way relative to the value of what that person is doing for your project. The contract builder understands this. It walks you through it. It has all the language in there. But this way you are asking people to volunteer their time in exchange for credits, opportunities, relationships, and net profits. So what all of this does is it takes what would cost you a ton of money and it gets rid of the money part and it gets everybody working on set in the same capacity for the creative experience, as opposed to everybody standing around going, I'm making $100 a day on this. What are you making? I'm making $150. You're making $150? Why am I making $50 less than you? This breeds resentment. When you're on lunch, your crew and your cast are talking in the corner. They're all discussing paychecks. Everybody's there for the wrong reason. When you can find a tiny little group of people that are creatively aligned, they all need the opportunity, they're excited to be there. These people exist. 35 films in the last 12 months proves that. I know it's a limiting belief to think, it's me, it's my goal, it's my dream. I have to go out there hat in hand and beg for people to come and work on my thing, and I'll do it for deferred pay, and I'll do it for this and that. You are creating an opportunity vehicle for multiple people to level up in their careers. You are the person who is putting together the project, who has the courage to take something from script to screen that not many other people will try. Like 1% of people will actually go make a feature film. Start understanding the value that you are bringing to them. Start thinking about the motivations of them in their career beyond money. Money is not the only exchanged value here. You are giving them opportunities that lead to bigger things. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to get back to this. So you've seen the contract builder. This is where the agreement comes in. You're going to get everything in your vault. At the point of distribution, you're going to get an E&O readiness report. This is going to kind of talk about, as you hand this off to distributors, what are you missing? What else do you need? You can download the entire thing, the entire vault as a zip, so you can literally just hand off the zip file with all of your contracts. You can upload the signed ones. So you can hand this directly off to your distributor. This is a huge part of it. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit because I jumped straight to contracts, but there's one big thing that happens between this. There's one key element that you are going to need that says, I know I haven't done this before, but I'm capable of telling a good story. We're going to all get on the same page with what it looks like and what we are trying to execute. This is the one thing that I've seen over and over and over again that gets high value talent super interested in what you're doing, regardless of the money. Irrespective of how much money you have in the bank, this is the one thing. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to jump back to Go Crazy Go Mad, and I'm going to go to the pitch deck builder. Now this thing is nuts. This thing is nutty. It's going to build the whole thing for you. It's going to write it. It's going to create the imagery, and then there's even a Canva template for you to plug your thing into. So it's going to give you a super high value, investor ready, talent acquisition ready pitch deck in like 30 minutes. And I'll show you what this looks like. So it's here, let me go back. So it's got the treatment, automatically pulls in the script, pulls in the production budget, the shoot location, and then it's going to ask you the deck purpose. Are you looking for investors, distributors, talent attachments? I like to just hit all three. I like to have the most robust deck that I can. And then I'm going to hit generate pitch deck. Casting characters, it's got everybody else already in there. I'm going to hit generate pitch deck. And then it's going to take you to the character studio. So the cool thing about this is traditionally when you make a pitch deck, you go out and you sort of steal a bunch of images off the internet and say, I'm going to make my movie look like Fight Club. And it's like, no, you're not. You got $1,000 budget and no Brad Pitt. But this has been the way that we've traditionally put together pitch decks. So When I built the pitch deck generator, I wanted it to look like these were stills from your movie that hasn't even been shot yet, and it can't even have your actors in it. So this is pretty nuts. So I'm going to pull my folder back open here, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to jump back in here, and I'm going to go to my end trip characters, and for AJ, I'm going to drag a photo of myself in. I'm going to hit Stylize to deck. Bryn, who is played by my wife, Ashley Lenz, I'm going to drag a photo of her in. I'm going to hit Stylize to deck. And what you're going to get out of this is something pretty insane. But what it's going to do is when it creates these images, which you'll be able to see this on, it generates them as a lengthwise version, so it's kind of going off the image. But what it's going to do is these stylized portraits are used in every slide of the deck. So your characters remain consistent. You can use real people from your actual life. Now, the thing I will say, don't go grab pictures of Robert Downey Jr. without his permission and put him into your deck. This is not an opportunity for you to go, reconstruct some weird Marvel universe that you don't have the rights to. So don't use it for bad things. Use it for good things. I'm going to grab a couple more images real fast. I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've dragged character images in for all 4 actors. I've hit Stylize to deck on all of them. So now I've got a version of them for the movie. Now they're not going to look perfect, and they're kind of designed to be a little uncanny, because I think it's good to have a little bit of separation between real people and something being generated by AI. I also just want to clear up right away, like, if you feel anti-AI creative anything, I completely understand that. And I really tried to design OGF AI to make sure that 99.9% of the creative act that is filmmaking remains something you actually need to put your fingers and brain on. This is specifically for a promotional marketing material to attract your talent so you can go do the physical production. This is not replacing the need for actors or writers or any of that. None of that exists inside OGF AI, and I built it very specifically with that in mind. But if you don't want to drag in characters, that's fine. Just know the alternative to this is literally using other people's photos from things that they've made. That's what creating a pitch deck has been historically. So that's where I see this as like kind of a gray area. So anyway, I'm going to hit continue to deck generation. Now on this one, it's going to ask me reference films. It's going to ask me your hero image, your visual style, and then it's going to generate a test image. So I'm going to say Drinking Buddies meets The Puffy Chair. Come on, give me caps. Know that these are, I'm also using whisper flow. That's how I'm doing this speech to text here. If you don't know what whisper flow is, I'll leave a link to that in the description. Also, it's basically you hold down one button and just talk to it, and it formats everything for you. So I don't really type anymore. It's pretty amazing. Hero image. Eklund and Bryn scream at each other in the middle of a busy, small town, Big Bear village during the day. So this one says visual style, handheld, naturalistic, desaturated with earth tones. I'm going to say handheld camera, natural lighting, the earth tone color palette. We'll just see what we get from that. I'm going to leave this as contemporary. It's showing you it's not trying to do like a 1920s look or like World War I or cavemen. And then this is automatically formatted to live action photorealistic film stills. So I'm going to hit generate test image. This should take just a second. So it's going to build everything. It's going to send it here. It's going to generate that for you so you can give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. Just know that this is a test image. Sometimes the characters don't come out perfectly here. This is just to kind of look at the overview of the image and decide whether this is what you want the rest of your deck to look like. Okay, so you can see it did not bring the characters in that we generated. This doesn't look like me. That doesn't look like Ash. That is okay. That's to be expected on the test image. This is more of like an overall visual style. Okay, so yeah, we'll say this matches my vision, generate full deck. This is going to use 50 credits because it's going to go generate everything for you all at the same time instead of individually. You will have the opportunity to iterate on that as well. I'm going to pause while it generates this so you don't have to sit here. This typically takes between 2 and 5 minutes. Maybe I'll throw a little mini game in here at some point so you can play something while you wait. I'll see you when this is done. Okay, check this out. We've got our deck. So you've got all the slides down here on the bottom. The slides are pre-written. They've got very specific meanings for all of them. It pulls key scenes from the movie. So there's a scene where my character has just done something awful and he's walking back through the city in the cold in his swim trunks. And it pulled that into the movie and it looks pretty darn good. So this is the title cover page. It's got the headlines written. It's got the body copy written, so you can go do all of this. Page 2 is the logline tagline scene. Some weekends you can't take back. It's got the logline, so it pulls all that stuff in for you. It tells you exactly what to do. And then I'm just going to show you what this looks like real fast. It's going to open the Canva template. Now you can edit this, use this, generate your images, copy and paste them in here. This is all editable, so you can just take the images from deck. You can right click on the image, hit copy image, take it over to Canva, and you can just paste it in. You resize it, and boom. Now we've got our new thing here. Okay, so I'm going to just go through all of these slides. One thing you'll notice is there's who's in this slide. So this will lock the identity of whatever characters are supposed to be in this slide. Eklund and Bryn are in this, but actually, well, let me look at the rest of these. So there's us out on eating sandwiches out on a rock, which is crazy because that image is actually in the movie. You'll see the movie version. That is in the movie. Yeah, it's crazy. This is all, there's the parking lot. Wow, it's crazy. Oh, that's interesting. It cut all our heads off. So if something happens like this, remember, it's AI. This is how it works. You can just hit regen image right here. Because here's the 4 of us in a gas station. So you can either hit regen image, or you can come down to this refine chat thing and just say like, all the characters' heads are cut off, you know, and then it'll regenerate for you. Just send that and it'll regenerate for you. It's written the comparable films. So it's got Drinking Buddies in there. It's got The Puffy Chair. It's got Hump Day, Celeste and Jesse Forever. And Before We Go, let's see what image we get back out of this time. I'm going to go look at some of the other images. So there's Bryn's character being upset after the breakup. There's our 2 characters being upset in the car. Some of the Big Bear footage, my character being sad and alone. There we go. Much better. Okay, so it took a few tries, but we're here. We've got all 4 characters looking at each other, bewildered, confused. We've got the mountains out in the backdrop. So you'll see when you watch the movie, this is a pretty accurate representation, but more importantly, what this actually does is when you have a high-value pitch deck that you can go put in front of people, suddenly you're not trying to sell people this abstract idea of what's in your head, but you're selling them the example of what everyone there is trying to execute. So you get the visual representation of the characters, the situation, the cinematography, the wardrobe, the lighting. Suddenly everybody's job gets super, super clear. Now we've all handed somebody a script and said, you know, it's only 112 pages. Why haven't you read it yet? It's been 3 weeks. Nobody sits down to read a script. They just don't. And you know, you might get them to do it once, but everybody can flip through a pitch deck in a minute or less and fully grasp what is going on from slide to slide and what you're trying to do. So this is what I like to call bait. This is what you can make. You can go to Facebook groups and throw this in filmmaking Facebook groups and lead with honesty. You have 0 budget. You are putting together a film that you have made on purpose as a 0 budget film. Now, there's one extra really, really key thing that I'd like to show you that is going to make this like, holy cow, no brainer, $0 is okay. So let me show you what that is. I'm going to go back to the project and I could click on this beautiful glowing button called OGF Mode. Now what this does, this is your screenwriting companion. This is your line producer of sorts. This is the producer that's going to sit down with you and challenge you and make sure that this is something you can honestly pull off with no budget. What happens a lot in my line of business is people bring you scripts, big giant scripts, and then they hear that it's possible to make a movie with no money, and then they think that their movie, their $80 million idea, can be made with no budget. That is not the case. What OGF Mode does is it takes your script, it's going to begin to diagnose it. It's going to give you two possible outcomes. You could either make it as designed as a makeable micro budget, zero budget film, or it's going to help you design a proof of voice film off of a bigger project. So oftentimes we'll never get that $80 million film made, especially if we've never made anything before. So it's going to take your big budget concept, it's going to strip all the things out of it that make you, and it's going to help you develop some new ideas that retain a lot of the things that are necessary for that big project. And it's going to make it, put it all together, take the ingredients from that big one and mix it up into a small little mixing bowl of what you could actually make this year. So I'm going to hit begin diagnosis. It's going to go through the script. It's going to look at your locations. It's going to look at your big set pieces, how many actors you have, how many locations, all of those things. And it's going to help you determine whether this is a makeable script the way that it is, a trimmable script. So maybe you're in the couple $100,000 range, and there's a couple key things that you could pull out, retain the rest of the story without losing all the important stuff and actually make it, or develop what I like to call a proof of voice film. It's a film that is specifically yours. It's your artistic DNA. It's not you trying to be a copycat of somebody else. It's your thing, the film that only you could make. That's what OGF Mode is going to do. I'm going to pause while it finishes and we'll jump back in. Look at that. I didn't even need to pause. Okay, here we go. So we've got our logline, we've got our genre, our tone, our themes, our character map, our location footprint. So it's going to break all of this down so it helps you figure out what you actually need. Distinct locations, 10 total, but several are a single visit. The car, hotel room, gas station are the only recurring sets. The Big Bear exterior environments, village, street, hot tub, bar, patio, trail, alley could plausibly be clustered into the same mountain town shooting radius. No period demands, all contemporary. Company moves, moderate. The film splits cleanly into two geographical worlds, Los Angeles, apartment, and Big Bear, everything else, which matches your stated shoot location. Expensive elements scan. Now, part of this process is writing based on what you actually have access to. So reverse engineering, so not going and writing the movie, having all the ideas for free that become very, very expensive when you have to go source them. But instead, you make a list. All of this is built in. Come into new project, come into develop from scratch, and what you're going to see is the exact process that I walked through for Go Crazy Go Mad, for End Trip, and even for the bigger budget movies that I'm in post on right now. I go through this exact same process because what this does is this allows me to maximize my production value while minimizing the budget. So even on the six-figure films that I'm in post on right now, we use these exact same things to get literally, and this is not over-exaggerating, more than six figures of added value from each film by going through this process. So one extra little story time for you right now. There's a filmmaker in the private community who went through my program. He's been in the industry as a key grip for 35 years, and he's always wanted to just bank on himself as a writer-director, but he's been spending his life building everybody else's dreams. Came through the program, went through this process, made a feature film, all in $9,000. When I asked him what he would have spent if he would have made this exact same film the traditional way, he said he would have spent about $300,000. So going through this process, which you can also go through the same process with your existing script inside OGF Mode, it saved him $291,000. So I cannot stress this enough. Take your big budget movie, run it through OGF Mode, come out the other side with a makeable film that will save you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end by taking your pre-existing assets and reverse engineering them into a film that you can make this year. This is how you make a movie with no budget. Keep your cast and crew as lean as possible. So we knew we're going to shoot the first 2 days in LA in our apartment. Then we're going to drive to Big Bear. We're going to shoot in the car on the way to Big Bear. We're going to maximize the company move. We've got 1 day on a hiking trail. And then we've got 2 days in Big Bear. It was actually a day and a half. We shot 1 full day in Big Bear. And then we shot, actually, no, it was one, sorry, this was 10 years ago. So I'm just thinking about this. The apartment, the drive, and the hike were all in 2 days. So that was the first 2 days of the shoot. And then there were 2 nights in Big Bear. So 3-day shoot in Big Bear, 2 nights. And that was it. We shot the whole movie in 5 days with a total of 4 actors. The first 2 days was just 1 camera. We ran our own sound on lavs, plugged into our phones. We were literally hitting start and stop on the phones ourselves, putting it in our pocket, doing the dialogue, trying to remember when we yelled cut, we also needed to cut that. And then for the second half in Big Bear, we had 2 cameras and a sound person and an AD that was kind of trying to help. That was it. That's all we had. We didn't have a 40-person crew or a grip truck or any of these things, more mobile porta potties. And it was literally just, let's keep it as lean and nimble as possible. Focus on the story, focus on the performance. That's all that's necessary, and making sure your audience can hear what's going on. That's the other key thing. I know it's a visual medium, but it's very, very easy to forget how important sound is. If your audience can't follow the story via audio, they can't hear the dialogue, they are out. It doesn't matter how pretty your pictures are. If they can't hear the story, they're out. So audio, pictures, performance, cast, that's all you need. So it's going to ask you down at the bottom, does this feel like what you're building? So no VFX, no stunts, no period demands, no creatures, no crowds, all things that would get very expensive. So keep these out of your movie. This is a lean, character-driven, location-based film. Most logistically complex element is the gas station climax, which we asked for permission to shoot. Shot it in about an hour in that scene. When you watch it, it's the climax of the movie. 4 actors, tight space, the ring drop, which needs real location or a controlled practical set. We just had the real location. We just asked for permission. They said yes. Stripped structure at a glance. The screenplay is presented as a scene beat outline rather than a formatted script. This is another very, very helpful tool in your tool belt when you're trying to make a film for no money. When you have a structured, over-engineered, highly scripted script that is the blueprint for your film, you've already set your expectations through the roof at what that film is supposed to feel like. So then every time you do a take, you're trying to reach the expectation that you have set for the film, which leaves a lot of opportunity for you to fall below expectations. Now, when you can do a scriptment, you can leave the dialogue to the actors who have done their homework, they built their backstories, they understand the mission, they get their shared relationships, and they can bring that to the set in an improvised setting. And then you could find that in the edit. You need 1 long take, sometimes 2, which is what we did for all of Go Crazy Go Mad and End Trip. And you find the film in the edit. And you've got 1,000 variations of what that film can look like rather than 10 iterations of the exact same script over and over, where you're just searching for the best delivery, arbitrary delivery of, that line out of 10. You've got so much flexibility in your edit. You've got speed because you can just get your cameras up and shoot. You wait for the actors to do something interesting over the course of a 10 or 20 minute take. You boil that down into a 3-minute scene, and you rinse and repeat that by 30, 40, 50 times. Suddenly you've got your feature film. You've got really nuanced performances. You've got a lean cast and crew, and you've got the nimble and quickness to be able to shoot the entire film in about 5 days. So for both End Trip and Go Crazy Go Mad, we shot both films in 5 days. End Trip might have been 6. We had to reshoot 1 full day for a crazy story I'll leave for another time. But we were shooting the equivalent of 20 pages per day on both movies. So that's the power of what's here. Now, as you continue to talk to OGF Mode, this thing is going to stay your best friend. It's going to keep you honest, and it is going to walk through your assets, your asset inventory, what you have access to, who you have access to, so people, places, and things, and it's going to help you restructure your existing idea into something that you could shoot now. So that is what OGF Mode does. So now you've got your film, you've got your concept, you know you can shoot it for basically free. Now there are, I'll say, 3 hard costs that are unavoidable when you are making a movie. So this is the 3 things you will for sure pay for. You will need to pay for food. You'll need to feed your cast and crew. Now, if they can sleep in their own beds at night, you can feed them 1 hot meal in the middle of the day. But if you are going to uproot everybody and bring them to a new location, you will need to feed them 3 times a day. So as you think about that, as your cast expands, as your crew expands, these are new people, these are new locations to fight, new schedules to contend with, new personality types, dietary restrictions. It's a lot. It's a lot to try and keep in mind. This is another benefit. Keep the time period of your movie as short as possible. Keep the number of mouths to feed as low as possible. This will keep your costs down. The other hard cost is hard drives. You have to store your movie on something. You want triple redundancy, which means you want 3 identical hard drives that have 3 identical copies of all of your footage and all of your sound. I can't tell you how many filmmakers, myself included, have dropped a hard drive and zinc, all the value of everything you shot disappears in an instant. I was sitting at a bar table and my knee hooked the USB cable and pulled the drive onto the floor, and an 8 terabyte copy of N-Trip vanished in an instant. Fortunately, I had copies, but I cannot stress that enough. So you will need 3 hard drives. If you're shooting on prosumer cameras, you can get around 8 terabytes, seems to be the magic number for films of this size. And the third and final hard cost is just a little bit of insurance. So you basically just want to be able to cover locations and gear, be able to add additional insureds to your insurance package. This is the one you're trying to mitigate risk for everybody that's coming onto the project. Anybody who's going to be lending you their location, their business, their car, you just want to be able to say, I've got insurance. In the event that anything goes wrong, I've got insurance. You can get insurance like that from thimble.com for around $100 for $1 million insurance policy for 30 days. So it is very affordable. I've had several filmmakers in my community make films for under $5,000, several more shoot them for under $2,000. So it is very, very possible to shoot a movie all the way from beginning to end for free. Now, there's a bunch of other tools that I didn't cover inside this video, but there's a link in the description. There's a link in the pinned comment. If you want to start a free trial, jump into this. If you bring in a big fat $80 million script, please go through everything I just showed you. Jump into financing intel. It's going to show you where to find free money. Jump into festival strategy. It's going to help you understand what festivals are good for your film. Jump into distribution and self-distribution so you can really understand who you should be targeting, what your audience looks like. That's going to break your script apart into different segmented audiences so you can understand who you will be marketing this film to at the end of the process. And if you run into the same problem that everybody else runs into with your big idea, which is that funding trap we talked about at the very beginning of this video, jump into OGF mode, let it break down your story, let it retain the essence of you, discover what you have access to, and figure out the movie that you could shoot this year. If you need a place to do that, One Grand Film School, I'll link to that below as well. That is a community of about 2,000 filmmakers at this point that are all in the same boat as you, all working together, collaborating and making films. This is the community of collaboration, of people that are all in it for the experience and the relationships over paychecks. So if you need a place to do that, jump into school. I will see you in there. We have calls every Friday, and we've got a private community of filmmakers that are making movies with me holding your hand. If you are interested in that, shoot me a message as well, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.